Yeah, I will talk about big open data and how to publish it on your own on a data portal. We also use HuVice, but how do we do it if the data gets big? So we go from Commodore to Datastore. So how and why does humanity store data? There are a lot of mammals who don't store data, and they seem pretty happy to me. So why do we do it? And as a proof that we want to do it, I don't know why they do it, but as a proof that we want to do it is probably that the Celts, which also lived here in Geneva, the Gauls, stored data in their head. They, I don't know, I think refused to store data by writing it down because writing was already invented. And I don't have any historical proof what they stored as information, but I know they were really unhappy that they stored it in their head. This is the dying Gaul, probably because we also call it data loss in this case. This is the Keltefürst from Glauberg, also has a sad face, and everybody knows this Gaul. And to see how humans store data, we see that they already 2000 before Christ stored it as tabular data. This is calculations of Pythagoras. And the Mesopotamian people stored it as tabular data, which we do too, so we are pretty happy about that. A lot of other inventions happened, but important for today is probably this one. This is the Commodore Datasette, which is a portmanteau from data and cassette, because it was a data storage to store data on low cost with a cassette. But it was only, you could also only plug it into some of the Commodore computers. But it was low cost, so it was revolutionizing. People stored their own data at home. Also happened here, probably everybody knows it, Sir Berners-Lee. I didn't know he was a sir, but invented the World Wide Web here in CERN and changed the world also. He shifted the data storage from being locally available to being globally available, and also for us, open government data. For the government, it was important. Okay, we have to inform the people by storing the data in the internet. So how do we do it? How do we do it in Basel-Stadt? I wasn't here, I was in the world, but I wasn't here in Basel-Stadt working here, but Jonas and Jonas were here, and they did open by default in 2019, and also in 2019 they already went live with the data portal, also with the same like Freebook, with Open Datasoft, now HuVice, and it was a hit. A lot of data sets were published, and many more cool things on top of the data sets were published too, dashboards, reuses from the public, from private institutions, and so on. But then in 2024, we saw our data storage coming to an end for this SaaS, for this software as a service, HuVice. So a lot of people in Basel, it wasn't news, couldn't sleep anymore. So we had to come up with a solution to still store a lot of data somehow. So what we did is we used Datasette and deployed it on-premise on our servers and deployed it as datatools.bs.ch. And what is it? What is Datasette? So I think the analogy, and I think that's the reason why it was called like that. I don't know why, if it's like that, but I think the same thing goes for the Commodore dataset. It's low cost, you can do it on yourself, and it's done for not really for the government, it's more for data journalists, so they can publish their data somewhere, but you can do it on your own computer, you can do it to analyze stuff, and so on. So let's look inside the Datasette. How does it work? It's open source. It's a tool from Simon Willison. Maybe some people know him. He is also really popular when it comes to how Gen AI and LLMs work. He published this web application where you can publish your data as SQLite databases. And there is also interactive browsing. You can do SQL queries, and you can export your data as CSV and JSON. And you can expand this Datasette with plugins. It's like 150 plugins, which have all different kinds of functionality. And you can also design the Datasette as you want, as your corporate design, or whatever you want. So let's go over the advantages of Datasette. As I said, it's open source, it's vendor independent, you can run it on premise, it's cost effective, even for large data sets. You have to do some decisions, so it still is kind of performative. There are flexible deployment options. We did it on our own servers, but you can also publish it on Heroku or on Google Cloud Run. It's all explained on the documentation. It's easy to replicate, so if it goes down on our servers, I can just copy-paste it kind of into other service. And there's powerful querying because it's SQL, and you can extend it with the plugins and CSSs and JavaScripts and whatever. And SQLite tables are really easy, databases, that's wrong, are really easy to create. It's really how it's explained here. It's pretty straightforward. Even if you can't script Python, I think you will get the hang of it pretty fast. So that are the advantages. What are the disadvantages? It requires a lot of DevOps, IT support. The performance depends on the infrastructure of your IT. So we have to communicate a lot with our IT. If you were in the other room where Yannick Schranner, also from the Data Competence Center, talks about their AI tools, he also had to cooperate a lot with the IT, but it went well. Maybe it's not as much as a disadvantage because you get new, you can solve these silos of everyone in the public administration working for themselves. But they also have proxy and security and firewall complexity, which can also bring problems. For example, up until yesterday, we had the problem that the service was unavailable every minute before I had this talk. And then I had to solve it somehow. You will see a picture at the end, how I was in the lobby of the hotel, somehow trying to stabilize it. It's better now, but it's still not solved. We think it's some bots scraping the site, and then just our infrastructure not holding on, and then it crashing and then starting itself again. So that's what happens if you do things on premise, but they are solvable. There are solutions to these things, and we will solve it. Also, maybe a disadvantage, maybe an advantage, I'm not sure. It's a pretty good one-man show, so Simon Willison does really all the work if you see how many commits he has. The other two with the most commits is Dependabot and Code. So it's, if he doesn't want to do it anymore, it's not done anymore unless someone new comes and forks it, and then I'm not the one who does it, but someone hopefully does it then. Okay, so how do we do it with these advantages and disadvantages? We use Datasette for things which have too many entries, so we have a limit of 20 million entries in HuVice, and we have a limit of 150 columns for datasets, so we also use that one for Datasette. And when the dataset provided to us is provided to us as a database, we can't do it on HuVice because every dataset is a dataset on its own. But on Datasette, where it's in a database format, maybe that is kind of advantageous to some people who use our datasets. So let's go really fast to a demo. If it's working, let's see. Would be really authentic if not. So it works. These are our datasets. These are traffic datasets. These were just exceeding these 20 million views. Then we have these große Rad. These are tables which have identifiers which point to each other. We have this Befragungsdataset where each row is an answer to a Befragungs, like questioning of the canton of Basel-Stadt for the people who are over 55 for the year 2023. So what we did is if you go see here, we point to Datasette, and we point also to a download link, and we also say, we here have the last 2 years, but if you want to look at the whole data set, go to Datasette, and the metadata is still saved here because UWise does this better, because Datasette wasn't made for metadata saving. And that's how it looks. It looks pretty cool on mobile too. And you see 41 million rows, and it goes pretty fast if it's working. So if you press it, it's here, and if you count it, it goes pretty fast. Here, for the questioning of the 55 plus, we had to publish it like this, so we had to transpose it kind of, but in Datasette we are able to publish it like this. Here. Yeah, and then how does the API of Datasette work? Just really fast. Marimo is like a notebook, like R Markdown or this is, I think. So we cheat a little bit, we go just there. And then we can see that you can have 3 or 4 API endpoints. You can get the databases, you can get the tables per database, and you can get the content of the database. And here I load it into a pandas data frame, and if I run it, hopefully it works. Maybe I don't have, no. And, oh yeah. Okay, we get a 404 from Datasette, I think. No? Let's see. Loading notebook, and then we can run this, and we'll see that it's still. I have like a backup plan here too, but I'm not using that one. Now it worked. So you get 1,000 rows. It's a bit more than 1,000 rows. It's 250 columns, and then you'll see that I did some embedding and the dimensionality reduction for this. It's just a toy tool. It's not it's not a statistical product. If you want to look at statistical products, the Befragungsteam at the Canton Basel-Stadt does a pretty good work. And what you can do then is look at what the embedding and dimensional reduction spits out, and then you see what these kind of people really answered, and you can see connections maybe between answering and their indicators. That was it. Thank you very much. And